always says you can't teach an old dog new trick and a new dog new tricks.
Absolutely.
All right, lots of opportunities for that. We're going to Doggy Summer Slobber School.
Slobber School. Joining us this morning to show us how to properly train or even retrain our coveted canines is dog trainer Melissa Millett. Melissa, now dog training is something that it's not ever
We forgot
done.
an introduction.
Oh.
Who is this with you?
Pickles.
This is Pickles, yeah.
Pickles the Wonder Dog.
Pickles the Wonder Dog.
Yep.
Okay, as you were.
Yeah, well, I mean, dog training continues through your relationship and the time with your dog. What are some of the mistakes people make around training?
I think to start, it would start with socialization. People think that it means that their dog needs to meet everyone. And in fact, it actually means that your dog should learn how to live within their culture, which is usually mind their own business.
So,
Think of your dog as a service dog. You know, they meet some people, but usually they sit politely everywhere you go.
Dogs should be seen, not heard.
Well, you can say hello, but not everybody belongs to you, Pickles. So that way we learn manners.
Well,
And is the reward system the best way to bring in this training? Is that like
Absolutely.
food, or I mean, do you have to worry about if you're giving too much food while you're trying to train them?
You do, yeah. You have to also watch their dinner. But I think it is about rewards, but it's also about what do I want my dog to do instead of what do I want my dog to not do. People are always thinking, don't do this, don't do that. And don't is more abstract to dogs. I want you to think, instead of jumping up, I want you to sit. Instead of wandering around, I want you to have a place to sit, to be. So it's more about what would I like my dog to do instead and reinforcing that.
So positive reinforcement.
Positive reinforcement.
So let's start with an idea of just the simple sit and stay, and that idea of like really having your dog listen to you. Where would you start with Pickles?
Well, where I would start with Pickles is I would use food 100%. I would not repeat myself with sit, 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 break, sit, sit, sit. I would just use hand signals. So for a sit, for example, we're going to go over her head, sit, yes, and release so that they know when to start, when to stop. And I think my most important thing is to feed for position. If you want to sit, feed in a sit. Don't feed after the dog gets up. And that is a huge, huge
So
benefit to
timing
success.
of reward is important.
Most definitely. But reward placement, like for Pickles, she gets a lot of reinforcers on this mat. As you can see, we put a little mat down for her. And she gets her reinforcer in the position she was asked to perform. So that's really key as well.
And how do you get them to learn the trick or the thing you want them to do? Like to get them to sit, you have to push their bum, say sit and push the bum down, or what's the best way to do it?
The best way to do it is to follow a food lure. And people get worried you're going to get stuck on a food lure, and you can actually fade a food lure by first you start with the lure, and then you're going to release, you're going to pretend you have the lure. Yes, and use it out of your pocket. And that's another tip in fading reinforcement. Then if you want to add a stay, you can start to add the word stay and just take a step back at a time. But you're always going to go back to where you left your dog, reinforce in position, and release there. So it's always about reinforcing in position.
What are one of the things that maybe the dog and the owner or parent lose over time, that maybe in these summer months when they've got a little more time and they can go back to the basics, that they would need to go back to?
Well, I think always working on that loose leash walking is really key, because then you can get your dog out and get exercised. And that's something that people struggle with quite a bit, because it's really annoying when your dog is pulling you and it really deters you from wanting to walk your dog. So getting back to that, you can just go to equipment as well, like a front clip harness or a halty on the nose are two great things for helping your dog walk nicely. Get some more exercise, makes them nicer to live with.
What are some of the bad habits that people do trying to train their dog?
Bad habits that you would do is word repetition, sit, 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 high expectations. People often expect more than the dog can give, and then they get frustrated when the dog doesn't meet those needs, and they always focus on the negative. You know, don't do this, don't do that.
Saying off the top, though.
Yeah, that's a big one. Yeah.
Interesting. Well, this one, Pickles can do a lot. Can we show a jump?
Oh yeah, Pickles got a lot of tricks. Okay,
Pickles
ready?
is a trick dog, not only well behaved,
Ready,
but
rebound.
also full.
Good job. Ready, get in. Good job.
Oh my goodness!
Of course, her best. Ready? No. Come over here. Whiz.
I hope that's a trick.
It is
I really hope it's a trick.
It's a very good trick.
Pickles. On a more serious note, for people, we've got some of the rescue dogs coming on. What are some of the things people should be aware of when they're trying to train rescue dogs, especially maybe older ones?
I think it starts with finding a great rescue to work with. What you're looking for is, first, I want a rescue that fosters dog for 2 weeks. A lot of people have found that there's a 2-week honeymoon period. You bring a dog home, it's like dating. I don't really know these people. I'm not going to show my true self. Second is researching the dog that you're looking at. You know what the dog is originally bred for. Is that okay with you? Don't choose on look. Choose on the personality that matches what you're looking for. There's so many great dogs out there. When you have that rescue that has that 2-week honeymoon period covered, they can match you to the dog that's right for you.
Well, I think we are going to see a bunch of dogs that are matched to Nicole right now because she's at a doggy spa, and they're having a very, very fun time there. And actually, I'd like to visit
Pickles,
Nicole.
you'd like this, I think.
Yeah, Pickles
Little
would
break
really
from all the
like it.
training.
Nicole, what's happening?